Good morning, everybody. It's so great to have you all on once again because it's a beautiful, beautiful day. It's a Tuesday in March and we are so much closer to spring. Praise be to Jesus. I am excited. Days are longer. Sun's brighter. Things feel good. Life's good. Can't complain. And you know what else makes you feel good? There's a comeback in the midst among us. Oh, baby. Here we go. We have Marco Mendocino named as Mark Carney's interim chief of staff. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Marco's back. Little Marco's back. Mendocino. He's back. He's back, baby. Oh, boys and gals and beautiful people all over the world. I am stoked to see this because Mark Carney, as I said, is the accident waiting to happen, and naming Marco as chief of staff has caused the left to begin to eat itself alive once again. It's only a matter of time. The liberals cater to a specific base, and now that base is turning on them because Mark Carney is half in, half out. He's got some liberal policies, some far left policies, and some a little bit left policies. He claims to have centrist policies, which yet to see if any of those come up at any point. No, he's alienating the base that the liberals have worked so hard to build over the past 10 years. They're turning on them overnight. It's great to see, baby. It is great to see. He is the accident waiting to happen. Just be patient. Yes, Mark Carney names Marco Mendocino as the new chief of staff, and immediately you have the National Council of Canadian Muslims saying, we're out. We're done. We're done. Today, with the rumors in Ottawa flying with the appointment of past MP Marco Mendocino as an interim chief of staff with new Liberal leader Mark Carney, the National Council of Canadian Muslims is greatly concerned about this potential appointment, given Mr. Mendocino's questionable record on matters of national security and international human rights. Yes, because Mendocino's come out in favor in support of Israel at various points, it's not good for the National Council of Canadian Muslims, as they've typically sided with the Liberal Party of Canada. This isn't good. That's a big voter base. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Couple things they didn't like. In the past 2 years, amongst other things, Mr. Mendocino has shared social media messages from Mir Weinstein, the past leader of the JDL, a group with close ties to the Khalistanis, and has been called a far-right terrorist group by the FBI. Weinstein has made numerous comments about his desire to fight Canadian Gazans, and the JDL has a long history of extremist and violent behavior. When Mendocino was asked to take his post down, he did not. These messages remain on Mr. Mendocino's page as of today. He stood against the supporting international institutions like UNRWA and stood against the decisions of International Court of Justice in relation to ongoing human rights abuses, voted against the vast majority of the Liberal caucus in calling for an end to all weapons flowing to human rights abusers, and stood against a ceasefire in Gaza against the vast majority of the Liberal caucus. These are the reasons why they're not too happy with Mr. Marco Mendocino. This could be Carney's move to move close to the center, but he's going to be sacrificing his base in the process. Fascinating move. Marco is a funny guy. Canadian Muslims are not too happy with him. Well, here are some reasons why Canadians are not so happy and thrilled with this individual. Let's remind you of what this man has committed during his time with the Liberal Party. First, the use of the Emergencies Act. Mendocino played a key role in the Trudeau government's decision to invoke the Emergencies Act and end the Freedom Convoy protests in Ottawa. He repeatedly claimed that law enforcement had requested the act, but later evidence suggested that police agencies had not formally made such a request. This led to accusations that he had misled the public, as well as started spreading lies about the convoy setting fires in apartment buildings. Yeah, he got called out in committee on that one too. Classic. Gun control legislation, Bill C-21. Mendocino introduced amendments to Bill C-21, which aimed to ban a wide range of firearms. However, the initial wording of the bill was criticized for potentially prohibiting commonly used hunting rifles, sparking backlash from Indigenous groups, rural Canadians, and even some Liberal MPs. The government was forced to walk back parts of the bill. Handling of the foreign interference allegations during his tenure, concerns about Chinese election interference were raised, particularly regarding reports of Beijing's influence in Canada's 2019 and 21 elections. Mendocino was criticized for the government's perceived inaction and lack of transparency in addressing these threats. And then COVID-19, border restrictions, and the Arrive Can app, that beauty, the crown jewel of what he was a part of as a part of this Liberal Party. As Minister of Immigration and later public safety. He defended strict pandemic-era border measures, including the controversial ArriveCan app. Yes, the $60 million ArriveCan app that should have only cost maybe in the realm of being generous, $1.5 million. Yes, he was a part of that, and he was the Minister of Public Safety and Minister of Immigration at that time. Yes, the app faced backlash for being mandatory, glitchy, and costly, with reports emerging that it cost taxpayers significantly more than initially projected. Oh, baby. That is Marco's record as an MP in the past 10 years. That's who you're getting. And it is interesting to watch his comeback, isn't it? I was at CSFN last year. This is, again, the Canada Strong and Free Network, which is a conservative conference. And Marco Mendocino was spotted at this conference. And people were like, huh? Why is he here? This is the time where he kind of was let go and displaced from his cabinet position in Trudeau's Liberal Party. And people were like, ooh. He was showing signs maybe he was looking for a job, looking across the floor. It wasn't looking great for Marco. Mark Carney came to his rescue. Now he's making him chief of staff. And guess what? Congratulations, Marco. You're going to have a job for like 3 more weeks. Good job, Marco. Oh, you got 3 more weeks of employment. Way to be, big dog. Way to be. The last thing I have to share about Marco is his amazing hypocrisy. He's a Toronto-based MP, and this is what he posted February 27th, saying, shoveling our way through Olivia Chow's Toronto, where you pay more for property taxes and get less snow removal. It doesn't make sense. Do you know what also doesn't make sense? You advocating for the carbon tax all these years. That doesn't make sense either. It was hilarious to see him complaining about Olivia Chow when he's advocated for similar policies and getting the exact similar results at the federal level. Good way to go, Marco. Way to go. Way to be a big dog. Oh, man. And as we shift our focus, but continue on this theme of the left beginning to eat itself, they have started to make the moves to try and go more center by removing the carbon tax and obviously hiding it elsewhere, but not telling people this. And we had to verify. Journalists had to catch up with Stephen Guilbeault and be like, all right, is this actually happening? That's what Stephen had to say. I want to smoke together. Let's let our love unfurl. You know you want me, baby. You know I want you too. Forgot that was on. Ooh, hopefully that wasn't playing.
Do you expect Carney to get rid of the consumer carbon tax before he calls an election?
Well, he said yesterday that he wanted to get rid of it. We're looking into how that could be done and how rapidly it can be done.
Do you expect this to happen, though, before the election is called?
As I said, we're looking into it. I don't have like a time to give you. We're looking into different options. Do we need to change legislation? Can we go the regulatory route? Like, what are the options? And I don't have an answer for you yet.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I mean, he said that he wanted, for example, to work on the industrial carbon pricing system that gives us 3 times more emission reduction. So make sure that big polluters do their fair share when it comes to reducing emissions. And you should remember that our climate change plan doesn't rest on 1 or 2 measures. It's more than 100 measures that we've deployed.
So there it is. Word where they haven't committed to a time frame yet, but they're looking into removing the carbon tax. Will it happen before election? Or will it just be something they hang as a carrot over the election that they'll remove it and then lie to the Canadians at the end of it? Regardless of the decision, that doesn't matter to their base. You have Rachel Gilmore saying, and Carney is already talking about getting rid of the carbon tax and ditching the capital gains tax increase. Blech. Both of those moves disproportionately benefit the wealthy and seem to be responding to conservative-led branding problems rather than reality. Oh, Mark Carney. Mark Carney. You are the accident waiting to happen, aren't you? Your base is upset that you're not taxing people enough. Problem with your base and the Liberal Party has catered to all these years is if people are not experiencing maximum amount of misery, it means you're not doing your job well enough. You're losing that part of your base. Now, here's the key question here, right? If this is the case, that they're starting to lose parts of their base, likely a lot of those parts of the base are going to move to the NDP, and Jagmeet Singh's NDP are going to pick those people up. That is likely what we're going to see happen. He's starting to sort of carve a little bit out of the conservative lead, but things are starting to diverge again. They were converging, now they're back to diverging. So what's going to happen is he continue to alienate his base here. This portion of his base is going to vote NDP. They're going to split the vote. And as long as Pierre Poilievre focuses on his messaging, focuses on his campaign, focuses what he's going to do for Canadians, and limits what he says about Carney. Yes, he's going to have to say some things to call it the hypocrisy and call it the lies, but he can't make that his whole platform. He can't make it his whole campaign. He has to make it about what he's going to solve for Canadians with a sprinkle of Carney hypocrisy. And that will get them the win. They have to convert on this. The Liberals are shooting themselves in the foot. Let them do it. They're losing people already, folks. As I said, the lines were converging, and now they're beginning to diverge once again. Poilievre's solidifying his base. Carney is taking a pickaxe to his base and is going to lose ground to the NDP. The problem with Carney is he's trying to play to his boomer base, which a good chunk of it is voting Conservative. So it's not like you're going to get the whole demographic. These Liberals are toast. They have an identity crisis happening over here, and they're going to get absolutely fried. And the Conservatives can't get in the way of it. Conservatives just got to focus on their race and keep moving forward, baby. Because we move into the CBC discussing the flip-flop of the carbon tax on the Liberals' behalf. And we'll just kind of watch the first 30 to 40 seconds here, just kind of get an idea of them just kind of making light of it, laughing about it, making fun of Liberals to a degree. And I'll show you some responses that really kind of caught my eye to this exact segment.
Tariff day is April 2, carbon tax increase is April 1. And Brad, just an idea of how amicable this divorce is. We're getting notes from our reporters up at the cabinet breakup. The meeting is breaking up, not cabinet. Stephen Guilbeault just said, we're looking at ways to kill the consumer carbon tax as soon as possible.
Unbelievable.
And that's just the moment we are in. So take it away, Brad.
Yeah, brutal. Yeah, that's a soft underhand pitch there. Thanks, David. How much time do we have? No, just incredible. Just incredible. But,
it's just kind of like a classic CBC clip. I didn't really read into it much. It was just, some pundits talking about the reversal and the hypocrisy around them reversing their stance on the carbon tax that they have been touting for years, saying this is the only way that we're going to get through this and yada, yada, yada. And so it was laughter. But it was a Conservative MP who retweeted this and put this comment that really kind of put it in perspective for the regular Canadian. Shuv Majumdar says, CBC laughs off Carney Trudeau carbon tax hypocrisy. Talk to families in my riding and across the country that have been pushed to the breaking point over this bullshit. It's not Liberals are going to Liberal. It's that this has been one of the most devastating regimes Canadians have ever been subjected to. Defund the CBC, defeat Mark Carney, Trudeau, Liberals. And quite frankly, I said I thought it was a lighthearted segment, but him putting it into this perspective helps me remember that there are many who are living on the edge and hanging on by a thread because of the awful economic policies that have impoverished so many. People have to choose over paying their power versus feeding themselves, or putting a roof over the head and having power. Whatever have you, these policies have ruined people's lives. And so it is a bit rich when you have people laughing about it on CBC and realizing over the past several years, it has ruined people's lives. And when you put it in that context, puts a bit of a wet blanket on that moment, but it is also very real and something to remember. That was a lot that I tried to kind of bring together, but it was just more so to show that the chaos that party's in right now, they claim to be on high energy and they know what they're doing and they have a mandate from the party and they're going to move forward and do great things for Canadians. They're kind of keeping on this messaging to make sure they're trying to put a good face forward. But the reality is they are in disarray. They are not in a good spot. They are taken over by a banker, a globalist banker who's bragged about being a globalist and saying that's what Canada needs right now. He's a man who mentioned Trump 11 times in his acceptance speech and mentioned China and President Xi 0 times. He's bought and paid for by Beijing, bought and paid for by the World Economic Forum. He's a globalist through and through, as he's admitted. And he's also not a politician, and he's screwing up constantly. He's going to alienate their base. He's going to take a pickaxe to it. It's all going to be rubble. The one thing the Conservatives need to do, let them do it. Focus on their race and tell Canadians how they're going to make their lives better. That's what they got to do. And to end off on a positive note, it was great to see Danielle Smith on with Vashti discussing the idea of putting a federal tax on Alberta oil in the midst of this chaotic tariff war with the United States.
Even if it holds back our response, even if it holds back one of our biggest pieces of leverage?
Vashti, there's no circumstance under which I would agree to another tax on Alberta that takes $40 billion out of Alberta. You can ask me as much as you like. The answer is no.
Okay, I'll leave it on that note. Thanks very much, Premier.
Thank you.
God bless Danielle Smith. You can keep asking me about that tax. The answer every time is going to be no and twice on Sunday. Anyways, have yourselves a good one. I'm out.